And we have about 140 registered attendees, which is super exciting. And then also this thing here that says advocating equity. I've been a huge proponent of equity, whether it's for women to be seen as equal partners in all fields, or if it has to do with people with different abilities. So that's definitely been something I'm very passionate about. And I'll talk about that as well today. So who am I? Well, for those of you that know me, and I know some of you do, and not all of you do, I'm a very diverse person. I identify as being a mom. I have three kids, a wife. I've been married for, geez, almost 22 years. And I consider myself a really good friend. I am very physically active. I work out almost every day. And while I never played sports, I'm very athletic. I love nature. I love to be outside and hike and climb and bike. And everywhere I travel to, I want to explore my outside world. Along with that, I'm a very avid photographer because I want to document all the beautiful places that I've seen. I am a problem solver. I think one of the best things to describe what I do all day is solve problems, whether it's trying to figure out how to get all of my tasks done in the time that I have, or helping my students debug a problem, or helping a student understand something that they just don't get the first time around. I'm always trying to find ways to solve problems. And then this last one, I am a coder. I love coding. It is such a fun part of my job, and I love how dynamic it is and how it is ever changing. And so, as you can see, I am very diverse. And I really want to stress that because I think sometimes we feel that if we go into a field of STEM, it's one size fits all. We're a computer geek, or we are a coder, or we are in computer repair, and that's it. And that's not the case. You don't have to put yourself in a box. You can still be the amazing human that you are, and also enjoy writing code, and also enjoy creating solutions for problems. It's just one facet of who you are. So here's a couple of pictures I thought to include to just give you a little glimpse into who I am. So this one on the top left, this is my family. Last summer we were hiking. We were hiking in Zion National Park. This was me hiking in Vegas, and again, me hiking in Utah. I love hiking, if you can't tell. I ran a half marathon. This is actually one of my old students. She ran with me to fundraise for Ups for Downs, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Sunsets and sunrises are my passion, and everywhere we travel to, I try to get photos of sunsets and sunrises. My family, we travel by RV. This is actually our motorhome, and we travel for about a whole month in the summer, which again is just something that's so important to me. And these are my three kids, Aubrey, Braden, and Riley. So as you can see, family is really important to me. I work hard and I play hard, and I think that balance is super important. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the journey, about how I got to where I am, a little bit of reflection about my education, the things I'm currently doing, and then how you can help get involved in tech and STEM-based fields. So how did I get where I am today? Well, it's kind of a funny story, actually. In high school, I was really good at math and science, and I graduated high school in 1997, a long time ago. And back then, anytime women were good in math and science, the teachers were like engineering, engineering, engineering. And it's still kind of like that today, but it was really strong back then. And I didn't know anything about engineering other than I should do it. So I did. And I went to UIUC for civil engineering. And I got there and realized it was not me. It wasn't what I liked. It wasn't what I wanted to do. But what I did see about myself is that I loved helping others. I helped all of my peers with their homework, and I ran study groups, and I tried to help everybody do their best in all their classes. And that made me realize maybe teaching was my calling. And so I decided to switch into high school math education. And ironically, I switched schools to be with my boyfriend, and then we broke up, which is the classic story of a really smart girl who made a really dumb decision. However, I did meet my husband, so I guess, it turned out pretty good in the long run. And when I was at Northern, where I transferred to, I had to take a computer science class to be a math teacher. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I was terrified. I knew nothing about computers. I did not own a computer. Again, this was back in the late 90s, but my family was we did not have any resources. I did not own a computer. I was very low income, and I was scared to take this class, and I was surprised that I did so well in it. And it turned out that my math brain was actually a problem solving brain, which was really good at computer programming. And my teacher kind of took me under his wing and encouraged me to take another class. And I did. And again, did really well in it. And so at that point, I thought, maybe I should double major because the intersection between math and programming is pretty close. And so I decided to double major in high school math education and computer science. And so that was how I ended up on my degree path. And I actually student taught at Fremd, and then I came back here to work full time in 2003. So I've been a Viking for a very long time, probably longer, actually, definitely longer than all of you have been alive. And I absolutely love Fremd, and I love the home that I've made here with my department, my students, and everything in between. So, what was college like for me? Uh, when I think back on my college days, I have a lot of memories, especially in my computer classes, of being the what I would like to call the token white girl. I was one of few females, and within them, I was one of few females with light skin and light hair, and I stood out like a sore thumb. Everybody knew who I was. All of the professors would look at their rosters and they would be like, "Oh, you must be Shannon," because I stuck out. And while some might love that attention, I didn't love it. At that point, I didn't. Um,
Hello, Sharif.
Hi. At that point, I didn't really own my knowledge, my value, and my worth. And I was always having to prove myself. And through that, I was constantly making study guides and resources and sharing them with my classmates and trying to show them that I was a valuable member in this computer science field and that I had something to offer. And it was kind of it was kind of crappy, to be honest, but things have changed a lot since then, and it made me learn that I am valuable and that I have value to give. So that was one of my big knowledge gained from then. In terms of the thing I wrote on the slide about imposter syndrome, this is something that is real. And you might hear people talk about this. And this is essentially when you feel like you don't belong. When you feel, real quick, I'm just going to pause for a sec. If anybody is unmuted, if you wouldn't mind muting, that would be amazing. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to get back to my talk. So it's really common to feel like you don't belong and to feel like you're not smart enough or whatever enough. And I definitely felt that when I was in college. And as I have gone through my career, I have learned that while I might be strong in some areas and weak in others, I have a lot of value to give. And so I think it's important that you surround yourself with people that lift you up and help you realize your value and your worth. And many times it might be your parents or your siblings. And at that time, you might discount it and think, well, what do they know? They're my mom. They always love me. Or they're my best friend. They don't know anything. But you know what? You're amazing. You are amazing. And you have wonderful value and skills to give. And, anybody who makes you feel less, they're the ones who are lacking. In terms of other things that I did in college, I did a lot of volunteer work. I found a place with a co-ed service fraternity, which is essentially a fraternity is a college organization. And this one was built on volunteer work. And it was co-ed, meaning that we allowed both male and female students involved. And in this group, we planned service projects that benefited students and our community, both local and within our state and within our nation. And I made some really amazing friends through this organization. I also did some internships. I did one at Zurich. At that time, it was called Zurich Scudder, and that was in downtown Chicago, which was really cool to ride the train every day. And then I did another one out for Microsoft in the Seattle area for summer, and that was pretty cool. That's a whole nother conversation. But that was those are both really exciting. And while I loved those internships because they allowed me to see what it was like to work in a coding field, for me, I discovered that I really just had my true passion in teaching and inspiring young adults. And so that's why I chose to go into the field of education because for me, that was the best fit. And that's the great thing about college. That's when you get to learn what works for you. Let's see. So, what did I learn about myself in college? I learned that I love to help other people. This passion is what helped me become the educator that I am today. This bullet point that I have that says, no matter what you do in life, you'll encounter struggles and areas that will challenge you. That is so, so true. You're definitely going to encounter struggles. And if you are doing things that you enjoy, those struggles are easier to manage and to get through. I also learned that I wanted to be a lifelong learner, which, if you plan to go into the field of computer science or engineering, that's a necessity. The field is changing and evolving so much. You have to be willing to change with it. And that involves learning. I mean, every year I'm learning new things. Every year I'm changing what I'm teaching because the material is changing. And so that's a really important thing to learn. So if you love learning, if you love discovery and challenging yourself, then a field in STEM is definitely where you want to be. Um, I also knew for me that I loved being part of a team and collaborating with others. And so, again, like all of those things really helped me learn that for me, education was where I wanted to fit. But this aspect of a team and collaboration, that's also really important if you're in a tech-based or engineering field because they do a lot of stuff as a team-based environment. So, what do I do at Fremd? Well, when I first started, I taught all computer or all math, and I taught math exclusively for about 10, 12 years. And then I started teaching computer science. I was kind of waiting until I was done having kids. And then once I was done having kids, I was able to start teaching computer classes. And that main choice was based on the fact that it's much easier to get a maternity sub for a math teacher. So now I teach AP Java, mobile app development, and independent study. And I'm fortunate enough to have many students 2 or 3 years in a row. One of the really cool things I got to do pre-COVID was attend an AP conference for AP Java educators. They chose 100 teachers to attend a conference in San Francisco at Facebook headquarters. And that was really cool to get to meet up with all these other educators and just talk about code and computer science and how we teach it and how we inspire for several days. That was really exciting. In terms of things I do at Fremd, a few years back, I restarted the coding club and a Girls Who Code chapter, and we work on creating a variety of opportunities every other week at Fremd. And we also started the ACSL, which is the American Computer Science League competitive coding team. And so far, we're off to a great start. I'm also a freshman math team coach, which has brought me so much joy. I love seeing all of these young students who are passionate about math and want to challenge themselves. It's super exciting to see them in their math journey. Another thing that I really enjoy doing every year is bringing in a panel of Fremd alumni. So students that I've kept in touch with, they come back and they talk about computer science and engineering and just share with my students in general. And then last but not least, I also lead Life Club. And Life Club is a club at Fremd High School, which deals with fostering relationships with students of all abilities. And this was really important to me because of my daughter. So I'll talk about that in just a minute. Here are just a few photos. This is when I was at Facebook headquarters. This is the math team that I coach, Girls Who Code, Life Club. These are some photos. This is a photo from the Fremd Hackathon. This was last year at Powhatan High School. And then these are just a few of my wonderful alumni that came back to talk with my students. Okay, so why am I such a big advocate for people with special needs? Well, my middle daughter, Riley, she has Down syndrome. And this has really changed the way that I parent and educate, not only because it opened my eyes, but it also helped me learn how to be a much more patient and tolerant human overall. After she was born, we didn't know she was going to have a disability, and it just really changed a lot of the way that we as a family interacted. At school, I opened up and started Life Club, and Life stands for Love Your Friends Equally. And what Life Club does is we have an inclusive social club at Fremd for students with disabilities. And another thing that I do within my community is we are active with Ups for Downs, and we do a whole bunch of things. This is a photo from our parade entry that we do in the Septemberfest parade in Schaumburg. All right, last but not least, what am I like as a mom? Because being a female who works, and especially in a busy field, means that you have to be two people. You have to be the person who's at work all day, and then you come home and you're the mom. And so, as a mom, I have three kids. They are 17, 15, and 13. And I'm constantly striving to find a balance between my home life and my work life. And I feel like I'm getting better at it, but I'm always striving for improvement. In terms of my role, I'm often the homework helper. I can't tell you how many times my kids' friends will text or call and ask for homework help, not even just in math, but in everything. And being around high schoolers all day, I've really learned about different values that I want to reinforce, like limiting their technology and really being um, opening that door for talking about mental health and helping my children know that it's okay to talk about their struggles and to seek out help. We expect our kids to do their best work, but we also recognize that everybody's best work isn't an A. Um, that's okay. And we are really big on family time. So we'll do movie nights and game nights and we travel and yes, I make them do chores. I know I'm one of those. So in terms of how I enjoy life, because again, like we work hard, we got to play hard. So we travel all around the country in our RV. I love to work out. I love to be outside, hiking and biking and swimming and lifting. And I go to beaches and lakes and boating and anything outside I love. Like I said before, I'm a very active photographer, and I find it really important to take time to create and cultivate lasting relationships. That's also a really important thing. I want to stress the importance of that because if you find people in your life that are meaningful and fill your cup, then you want to make sure that you let them know and that you keep on reciprocating that relationship. There will always be time to do something later. If you leave everything for tomorrow and you don't do the fun things now, you're going to miss out. So, my advice to you there would be to make sure you take advantage of the fun stuff too. Okay, so there are a couple questions that Deb wanted me to talk about in terms of exploring computer science and engineering. And the best thing that I can say is to start off by taking advantage of classes in your school or in your environment. So, for those of you that are at local middle schools and high schools, there's a good chance that you have a computer science class that you can take. That would be my first recommendation because if you don't know if you like the material, it's going to be really hard to go ahead and um, major in it or explore it as a career if you've never tried it. And that was the mistake that I made. I didn't know anything about engineering and I signed up to have that be my degree. And I got there and I took my first engineering class and it just wasn't for me. Now, maybe if I were to do it all over again, it would be for me. I don't know. But at that time, it wasn't for me. So that would be my first recommendation. I do have a few links that I will share. Maybe we can send them out in like a post-event survey of some
Yeah,
different
I
places.
also put like a separate slide after all
Oh,
these
perfect.
questions um with like QR codes and things like that. I can
Okay.
also post the links in the chat if people want to, but they can also just like take a photo of the QR codes itself.
Okay.
I added that last minute, so just it would be more
Perfect.
convenient for people. But yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I do have a few links that I wanted to share for those that are trying to get that are exploring computer science that don't know anything about it. So they're beginner level links. And if you're interested in more advanced materials, feel free to email me with what you're looking for, and I can definitely get back to you. My email is included in the materials. So, how have I seen creativity and interacting with others play a key role in my tech focused career? Um, I think the best way to answer this is that in order to be able to have a career in tech or in STEM or anything that's cutting edge, you have to be creative. You can't just do what everybody else is doing. You can't just copy the person next to you. You have to think on your own. And so I think one of the best things that you can do, especially if you're just starting out or if you're younger, those of you that might be in middle school, just doing things that encourage you to think, whether it's playing with Legos or doing puzzles or things that just involve being creative. It's trying to think of another way to do the same thing or another way to do the same thing, but better. And those are ways that you can prepare yourself for a field where you're trying to be innovative. In terms of how do you start and what should you try first? So this would be an example of those links that Dev and I were talking about. I have a couple different links that I'm sharing that would be great places that you can get started. And at that point, I think it's a good idea to figure out, well, what do you like and where do you want to go with it? And sometimes you don't know. So sometimes that involves talking with other people like myself. There are a few other professionals that Dev and his organization have set up, which are sharing all kinds of amazing topics. So I encourage you to check all of them out. And that's a great first step to see where you might want to go with your personal journey.
I believe the next slide is all the links that I had put in. So if any one of you guys want to either screenshot this or maybe like put up your camera and like go to each of the links, you can do that. I also believe that there's the links that I can put into the chat somehow. I can tell maybe my co-host to do that later on. But I also want to ask you regarding like the different paths in computer science or um the different passions that people could go into, like related to AI, or I know you did a little bit of engineering, but you don't have to go too much into that. You can try to focus more on comp sci, but what types of paths have you seen are really prevalent? Or which ones have you specifically focused on? Maybe that could inspire them to explore the same.
Well, I definitely have noticed that the fields of AI are just exploding, which I think we can all relate. It seems like every time you turn around, something else is offering AI suggestions. And those fields
Or like,
those fields often are growing at a faster pace than our educational materials are, absolutely. And so, one thing I would recommend is if you are interested in AI, a great resource is to look at Kaggle. Here, I'll type this in the chat. It's Kaggle with a K. And Kaggle is a great source for learning how to do machine learning and AI type things and working with data sets. They have a lot of free courses on there. And then they also have some cool coding competitions. So that's another great way that you can start just learning and exploring. And because, like I said, our school doesn't teach AI. Several colleges are starting to have AI focused pathways, but again, it's changing so fast that it's hard to build an entire course around it. So, if that's an area that you're passionate about, most of the students that I've had who have been really strong in machine learning and AI have been self-taught. They have done, courses through Kaggle.com, or they've gone and taken different online courses. One of the ones that I linked on this slide right now, the one off to the right, the Harvard's Intro to CS class. Harvard and a lot of other universities have free online classes via YouTube where you can take
what?
and learn from them. And that's another great way to learn. I would not say that that's really beginner level, but that's for those of you that maybe have taken a class or two, that's a great way to expand on those core classes that you've gotten from your school.
I have question.
Yes,
What school do you teach?
I teach at Fremd High School, which is in Palatine, Illinois.
High school?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
What grade are you in?
Fifth grade.
Okay. And do you like coding or engineering?
I like engineering
Yeah.
better than coding.
Okay. Well, and that's great. Like I said, I wish I would have had a better idea of what I liked before I went off to school. There's a lot of cool things you can do with engineering. If that's an area you enjoy, I would encourage you to try to look at ways that you can build things and think of new solutions for existing problems you're dealing with to help just expand your mind.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions?
I will think if I have another question.
Okay, wonderful. Anybody else?
I think for maybe people who might be a little bit more focused on engineering, maybe just like list out the types of engineering there might be and what each of them might kind of like what each of them might like explore more. So like civil engineering, like my father had done, that's
Mhm,
more about like building things and like outlining the structure of like an overall building. That would
mhm.
be some of the projects that he worked on. Is there anything else that you would kind of like expand on?
Well, there's so computer engineering deals with the like circuitry that makes your computers, anything electronic that you would work with. There's electrical engineering. A lot of times you'll think of like cars and whatnot and things that have electronics. I've heard of aerospace engineering, which deals with things involving space. But that's unfortunately not a huge area that I have a lot of expertise in. So I don't want to pretend that I know more than I do.
Yeah, I think also our executive director, Ms. Mamta, she also did industrial engineering, so she can talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
great.
yeah, I can talk. I'm sorry I'm at work, but so there'll be some background noises. I, okay, so I would like to, because I did industrial engineering, it's really, really interesting for many of the students who would not like, especially girls, I would think they would just love it. I mean, I don't want to demarcate between girls and boys, but as I was a girl, I mean, industrial engineering plays a very important role in most of the industries. When you go into, so there's like, time and, how do you, the ergonomics part of it, like how do you make something faster? How can you reduce the cycle time of making something? Manufacturing something. It's kind of integrated with mechanical engineering, but it has a different aspect to it. So it's more of ergonomics as to how you can do something better. In basically, if you know Lean Sigma, I don't know if you know that, but that's like trying to make things leaner. So if you reduce cycle time, you reduce,
I'm
the
sorry.
money,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a very interesting because I really enjoyed doing it. We had operation research, we had like so many subjects in it. Math, if you're really good at
Excuse me.
math, that
Do you have a question?
can you
Excuse
please mute yourself? Yeah. So if you're very good at math, then you would love this because there's a lot of
me.
maths to do
Do you have a
when you're,
question? Is there a question that you wanted to ask? I think they were
I'm sorry,
unmuting me.
it's okay.
Oh, okay.
Let me just finish. I'll just finish in a couple
Yeah,
seconds.
1 second. You
So
can you can ask your questions afterward.
yeah, so if anybody is interested doing engineering, and I think this is, and not really interested doing computer science, you can. There's a lot of minor subjects which you can do in computer science, but your major can be industrial. That will be also very, very good. It's a very good line. You can go into every kind of manufacturing vertical industry, and you can really be happy doing what you're doing because it's really interesting. So I'll just let it go. I guess somebody else wants to ask something.
If anyone wants to ask questions, you guys can ask it right now as well.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah.
What subject are you teaching?
I teach AP Computer Science in Java, and I teach
Oh,
mobile app development, so making apps for your phones, and then independent study computer science.
oh, I got it. I got it.
Is there anything else you want to ask?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Are there any other questions?
I have a question if I could go.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
on.
So what advice would you give to someone who knows that they want to do something in like the technology field, the math field, but doesn't know exactly like what they want to do yet?
So I would say that it's good to explore your options. There are so many different fields of engineering. And so if that's something that you're looking at, I would recommend looking into the different fields, trying to find some summer programs that involve different areas to help see what you do and don't like. Sometimes people get discouraged when they try something and don't like it, but honestly, that's just as valuable as finding something that you do like because you know what you don't want to do. I know there's a ton of summer programs for kids in high school that you can do and just learn about different fields. So that would be one thing I would suggest. Another thing I would suggest is just maybe trying to find some podcasts or some other TED Talks or things that have to do with the fields that you're thinking about, because then you can just hear other people talking about what they do. And you might be like, wow, that sounds amazing. Or you might think, yeah, I'm out. And you'll know what you don't want to do. Again, just as valuable as knowing what interests you as well. Does that help, Moksha?
Yes, it does. Thank you
Okay,
so
good.
much.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have questions?
I have a question.
Yep.
Okay, so previously you talked about how you struggled with imposter syndrome being a woman in STEM. So how
Mhm.
did you like deal with that and how did you like come out of that?
Well, I will say first and
And you
foremost,
too.
things have definitely gotten better. So that's a good thing. I think um, where I was able to pull out of it was when I recognized, I belong here and I am good at this. And I didn't let other people tell me what I was able to do. I said, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to work hard to do it. I didn't let people tell me, you can't do that because you're a girl. You can't do that because of this. I said, no, I'm gonna keep working at it. So that was definitely that motivation was what helped me there. And like I said before, finding people that you can surround yourself with that encourage you is so huge because if you're always around people that make you feel like you're not good enough, whether it's because you think they're all better than you or because they make you feel like you're not smart enough or like you don't belong, you're never going to feel like you belong. And that's not a good place to be. Nobody thrives when they feel like they're not good enough. And so I think it's important to be around people that help recognize your value. I know for me in school, a lot of my friends in college, they were not part of my major. Now, I know many people live and breathe with kids in their major. I didn't. I had a circle that was outside of STEM, and that allowed me to be around people that really helped me just recognize that me as my person, that I was good enough. And so that was also really helpful for me in helping with my positive feelings of self-worth.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions?
I do believe there was another one. I think I forgot who it was, but they were trying to unmute. Maybe they wanted to ask a question. If there's anyone else, then you can turn on your mic and ask as well.
I have question.
Yes.
Like when they told you like to not keep going in the thing that you wanna do, like did you who told you like to keep going on it?
I definitely found a lot of encouragement from my mom. She always lifted me up in terms of telling me what I could do and that I could do anything I wanted to do. So that was definitely really encouraging for me. And then also a lot of my teachers. I know I never felt like I was being put down by my teachers. I think it was more by my peers, if anything. And again, things have changed a lot. I don't know if they've changed as much as I wish they would have, but they've changed a lot since I was in school. And, when I went away to school, there were a lot less women in the field. And so, it might have been, I don't even know. I just remember feeling like I was the only one. And that's definitely not the case anymore. I know that I know for me as a female teacher in this field, I try really hard to make sure that all of my female students know how amazing they are because, you know, we are all growing on this journey and we need people.
I'm sorry, I think you might have frozen. I mean, on my side, you might have frozen. I'm not sure.
Questions.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
قال لي لا لا كلنا دارنا هذا الانجليزي بعد ذاك نمشي.
Is there anyone else who wants to ask a question?
All right. Well, I'm going to leave this screen up for a minute. This is my email right here, my email at work. And this is the email for the foundation that you can reach out to if you have additional questions. Yeah, Deb, is there anything that you want to say to wrap things up?
No, I think it was a great experience talking with you, Miss Denna. Honestly, it's
Thank
such
you.
an honor. You're such a great teacher. She's my teacher as well, if you guys didn't know. So I'm really honored to have her here and to be able to talk to you guys all about what experiences she's had. And I feel like it went really well. I feel like you gave really, really good insights into kind of like motivating the students and just helping them gain some kind of understanding of what CS or engineering could honestly be like. And we're gonna have many more speakers just like Miss Denna through our Careers That Connect program at the Raksha Foundation. It's gonna be all throughout April, so there's gonna be speakers like State Representative Nabeela Syed. There's gonna be a professor from the UMich Ross School of Business. Um, and then also a doctor who works at the Elmhurst Hospital. And it will probably be happening around every week or so. So just stay tuned, and you can explore our website. Our website is rakshafoundation.weebly.com. And you can email us. You can email me or Miss Denna for more information on anything that you want to know more about, like related to CS or any other kind of field. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming. This was a really, really good workshop. I'm so happy you all were here to attend. And it felt like a really good experience. So
Thank
I
you.
also wanted to say thank you, Miss Denna. You
Oh, you're
really, I mean,
welcome.
all of us, I think all the students here should be very grateful because I know you have a very, very busy schedule in school with all the students. Plus, you do so many things, your hackathon, and I don't know how many things, plus your kids and so many things. But thank you so much for joining and helping all these students and giving them a good direction. And thank you for working with Raksha Foundation.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you as well. And I really hope that one of the big things that I wanted to convey was that um, to have a really happy and full life, you need to have a diverse life, and you need to make sure that it's not all school or all work. You need to also make time for your friends and your family and your other passions. And it wasn't until I really started doing that that I really felt happy and fulfilled. So I just wanted to put that little plug in there as well, because I know sometimes we get so wrapped up in only doing school and doing school all day long and all night. And while that's important, you also want to find joy in your life. So,
that's a
so
great message to end off with.
all right. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. And
Yeah.
like we said, if anybody has questions, feel free to go ahead and email myself or Dev.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for saying for us your life stuff.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mrs. Denna. Have a nice day.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.